All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about how to turn those super frustrating, totally dry online chats into conversations that are actually fun and engaging. Because let's be real, the whole point isn't just to talk, it's to actually connect. And we're going to break down exactly how you can do that.
So, be honest. Have you ever been in one of those online chats, maybe on a dating app, where it just feels like you're talking to a brick wall? You're trying to get a good conversation going, but it's just nothing.
And it probably looks something exactly like this, right? This painful, one-word, back-and-forth thing. Hey, hi, WD, NM, you. It is the conversational equivalent of watching paint dry. It's so predictable, it's boring, and it's headed absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, there's actually a name for this. It's called dry texting. It's that cycle of just low effort, super low engagement messages that pretty much guarantees a conversation is going to fizzle out before it even gets a chance to get interesting. It's super common, and man, is it frustrating.
And just look at how big of a problem this is. The research we're digging into here says that a crazy 9 out of 10 online conversations die right here in this dry texting phase. Think about that. The vast majority of potential connections just vanish. This isn't some small little thing. It is the #1 reason most online chats fail.
Okay, so why? Why does this happen all the time? Well, it all boils down to something we can call the literal conversation trap. See, we're kind of taught to answer questions factually, directly. But online, especially when you're trying to build a connection, that can be a total conversation killer.
And this example just illustrates it perfectly. So look at the column on the left, the literal trap. Someone asks, "What do you do?" And you say, "I'm an engineer." Now that's a fact, sure, but it's also a dead end. Where do you go from there? Now look at the right. Same question, but the answer is, "I'm a licensed therapist in my own mind." Now, is it true? No, of course not. But who cares? It's playful, it's interesting, and it just begs for a follow-up question. See the difference? It opens a door instead of slamming it shut.
And the source material we're looking at is super clear about this. This habit of being too literal is the main reason things go stale. It just sucks the energy right out of the chat and gives the other person absolutely nothing fun to work with. So the big takeaway here is we have got to break that habit.
So, if being too literal is the trap, how do you get out of it? Well, this is where you get to be creative. The key is this really powerful technique, and it's called unlocking fake worlds. And trust me, this is where it starts to get really fun.
Okay, so what in the world is a fake world? It's basically a shared, imaginary space that you create together right in the chat. You just take one tiny little detail from the conversation and you blow it up into some kind of fun or absurd or exciting scenario. It's basically a game that you invite the other person to come and play with you.
And here's how you do it. It's really just 3 simple steps. First, you find a small detail. So let's say she mentions she likes the beach. Simple enough. Second, you build a totally crazy premise from that detail. Something like, okay, that's it, we're quitting our jobs and moving to a Caribbean island. And third, and this is the most important part, you invite her to participate. You say something like, your job is to be the getaway driver for my offshore gambling ring. You in? See what you did there? You created this whole scenario and you gave her a specific role to play.
All right, now once you're in there building these fun fake worlds, you can start to layer in some flirting. But this isn't about just dropping a cheesy pickup line. There's actually a structure to it, a way to build up the fun and the tension safely and, effectively.
Think about it in 3 levels. Level 1 is what we just talked about, just keeping it light and playful, building that initial fake world. Now, if she's playing along and seems like she's having fun, then you can think about moving to level 2. That's where you get a little more suggestive, a little bolder. You might add some light, playful innuendo into your whole Caribbean gambling ring scenario. And only after you get a good response there would you ever think about moving to level 3, which is being direct and just clearly stating your interest. It's all about that gradual escalation. But this is the million-dollar question, right? How do you actually know when to escalate? How can you tell if she's really into the game and is cool with you taking it to the next level? Because misreading those signs is what leads to all the awkwardness. But luckily, there is one signal that is pretty much crystal clear.
And here it is. This is your green light. It's when she starts laughing as if your jokes are way funnier than they are. When she's not just responding, but she's actively and enthusiastically playing along with your fake world, that's the sign. It means she's having a good time, she's enjoying the vibe you're creating, and she is totally receptive to you escalating things a little.
Okay, so let's wrap all this up into a practical toolkit that you can literally start using right away to make your online conversations like 10 times better.
All right, here it is, your new toolkit. First, ditch those literal, boring answers. Second, use a non-literal icebreaker. Then find a tiny detail and build a fake world around it. And the most crucial step, invite her to play along. Give her a role. And finally, you gotta watch for that key feedback, that enthusiastic participation, before you even think about escalating. And hey, just as important, if someone isn't playing along, if they're giving you short replies, that's your signal to dial it back. This is supposed to be a fun, shared vibe, not you putting on a solo performance.
So really, the most important thing to remember is that you're shifting your entire goal here. You're not there to conduct an interview or just swap facts back and forth. You are there to create a shared, fun, memorable experience. That is what builds a real connection.
And that pretty much brings us to the end. So the only question left is, now that you have this new toolkit, what kind of fun, totally absurd, or exciting fake world are you going to build first?